Well, friends, today we know you'll really enjoy our feature car. It's a 1964 Sunbeam Tiger, a car with a lot of history, with a classic British automaker teaming up with such notable automotive legends like Carroll Shelby to create what today is a rare and spirited performer, as well as a collectible car that seems is very undervalued. This example is one of the early cars and has been preserved as a functional driver rather than a concourse trailer queen. So, without further ado, let's go for a ride.
My name's Matt. I'm from Lake Havasu City, Arizona, and this is my 1964 Sunbeam Tiger. I've owned the car since 1990, but I've really only used it for about 3 years out of the 33 years that I owned it. I had my two sons after I bought the car, and so my life switched to taking care of kids, and the car sat for a lot of years. And just recently, I dusted it up and got it running and brought it out to the Run to the Sun car show here in Lake Havasu City. So the car pretty much looked like this when I bought it. It's got the same paint that it had when I bought it. I did re-chrome the bumpers because they were bent up and pitted real bad. I've changed wheels and tires. I'm still looking for a matching pair for the front to match my, I like the original size of rims that the cars came with. A lot of people have moved on to 15 and 16 inch rims, but I like the look of the 13 inch rims like they came with. So I'm still trying to match the rims. I did have the engine rebuilt a few years ago, and it's running real good right now. But other than that, it looks a whole lot like it looked when I bought it.
How much fun is this to drive?
These are a really interesting car to drive because they have an extremely short wheelbase and small brakes. It has discs on the front and drums on the rear. They do have a Ford V-8 engine, which can be modified to make a lot more power than they came with, and so the cars can be a bit of a handful, a little twitchy to drive. Certainly lacking in braking compared to modern cars. And it's got a high gearing in first gear, so you have to slip the clutch a bit to get going or slip a tire a little to get going, which it just adds to the fun, I think.
Let's open the hood.
The engine's a 260 cubic inch Ford. These originally were a Sunbeam Alpine built in Great Britain by the Roots Group, and the importer in San Francisco, I believe it was, took his advertising money and wanted to know if he could fit the new, at that time, narrow Ford V8 into the engine bay as Carroll Shelby had done with the Cobras. And so he took his advertising money, and without permission from the company, he fit one in the engine bay, just a quick, dirty job just to see if it would fit. Well, from there, they took the car to Carroll Shelby to have him engineer it so it would fit better. So Carroll Shelby's shop did the engineering to fit the 264. This was before the 289 Ford had been introduced. So they took that back to England and got the approval for it, and then so Sunbeam took the bodies to Jensen Healy's factory, where they made the modifications to put the Ford V8 in them. So this is possibly the original 260 engine. They didn't match the serial numbers of the engines to the car, but this is the correct year of a 260. It has been modified just a little bit with the Edelbrock F4B intake on it in a 4-barrel carb, and it was stroked, so it has a little more torque and definitely more revs with the 4-barrel carb than it used to have. Although this week is the first week I've driven it since that was all done, and so I have very few miles on it right now with this engine, but the engine runs great. A lot of little things I still have to fix up, but I have time. It'll rattle a little when it starts from the exhaust.
It's an old car.
That's pretty easy.
Go for it.
My favorite thing about the car is that it's unique. You don't see them very often. Unless you go to a Sunbeam Tiger Owners Club meeting, you're very unlikely to see them. People who know what it is are always interested. A lot of people don't know what it is, and then you can see them take a little double take when they hear the engine and they recognize that it's got a little V8 in it. A lot of people think it was home engineered, and so that gives me a chance to explain what the car is. Mm-hmm. And to explain where it came from and the history of it and the ties to Carroll Shelby. I think a lot of people are interested in that. So that's what I think is most fun about it. I started out when I was 16 years old with a Triumph Spitfire. All my friends had muscle cars, and so I wanted something that had the sports car feel plus the muscle car power. And the Sunbeam Tiger was something I've wanted ever since I was a teenager. And so when I was able to buy one, I did. I bought two. So this is the only one I have left now, though. They're welcome at British car shows. They're welcome at hot rod car shows and muscle car shows. They have been successful road racing. My other car was modified to run open tracks, road racing type events, which I did at Willow Springs for several years. They're also drag raced. Some people modify them for drag racing. So they can pretty much be welcome at just about any type of event you want to go to. And there's always going to be people that are interested in them, which I think is a real bonus. So that's the one thing I like. What I want to do with it, when I had the engine rebuilt, my thought was I'm either going to fall back in love with this car or I'm going to sell it. And so I'm still, now that it's running good, I might just fall back in love with the car. After it sat for all those years when I was raising my kids, it kind of became just a headache in the garage that I had to work around because I wasn't enjoying it. So now I have to decide if it's something that I'm going to use a lot and enjoy, or if I'm going to let it go. And that's a decision I have to make.
Well, you know who to call. That's awesome, Matt.
Well, thank you.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for showing your interest in it. I really appreciate it.
We're always excited to see a tiger, but when at car gatherings of all sizes, we rarely do. What do you guys think of this tiger? Let us know in the comments.